In 1993, the Igbos, in their large numbers, supported Abiola. Then in 1999, the Igbos once again supported Obasanjo Olusegun. Till this very day, looking at the election map as you have it on my screen over there, you can see the impact of how the Igbos, for their own interests, have always supported the Yorubas. Today in Anambra State, Tinubu got into a deal, and I think it is a smart deal. After a closed-door meeting was held, as reported, that some deals has been sealed, and this, I believe, would have been with the Biafran struggle. As an Igbo man, you understand that at this time, which is more important and more critical to you, realistically, do you think you would vote for someone who releases Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Or are you going to vote for a Peter Obi whom we have seen not to be a man of spine? So the question begs for an answer. Because as reported today, everything in Anambra seems to be in the right way. In the court, we can see that the Northerners are bringing all manners and all forms of witnesses. These are witnesses that are masked, bringing all forms of evidences to try and bring Mazi Nnamdi Kanu down. But on that matter, Tinubu has decided to stay neutral because he knows and he has the power. All he needs is, let me secure that assurance that I will get at least 30% vote from the Southeast or even more. If you guys could have done it for Obasanjo, if you guys could have done it for an MK Abiola in that large mass, then why not myself, Tinubu, that if I will release your son, the legacy, the beacon of emancipation, then would I secure that vote? And then I ask my fellow brothers listening to me, do you support this deal? Do you think this is a welcome deal? Meanwhile, in the north, you can see there on my screen, Atiku now is going right there all over the street of Katsina to ensure that he poisons the mind of the north. That north must grab the power back in 2027. In this conversation, the Igbos must understand that they are the decision maker. Right now, what do you want? You have to choose one. You have two things on the table. Do you want to have a shot at the presidency using a Peter Obi who will eventually, or who might eventually, because according to his antecedents and his character, it might be a stooge? Or would you vote for a man who would release your son, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? And having released him, it simply means that he has stepped on the toes of the northern oligarchs, which simply means this man is ready to break everything, every power, every grip in every sector of the economy that the north has. Who would you rather vote for? I mean, haven't seen what went on in Anambra State, where I'm going to show you a speech, by Anyaku, him saying that Tinubu's coming down to Anambra is only one thing, that he is ready to listen to the plight of an average Igbo man. I took my time and I went for a survey on the street of Lagos, and then I went to Ogun State. And then I called my friend who did the same in Abuja, that what is the plight of an average Igbo man as it stands today? You wouldn't believe. It wasn't the presidency. It was simply letting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu be free. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being let go is way more important and highly prioritized ahead of Peter Obi, who wants to become the president in 2027. An average Igbo man is intelligent. An average Igbo man is blessed with what we call the discerning spirit. And let me tell you how. As of 1999, the Yorubas largely voted for Pa Olufalaye. In fact, if you go to the Yoruba camps or Yoruba groups, so many of them will tell you that Obasanjo was never a candidate because, the Yorubas are largely clannish, right? So, if Obasanjo was seen as a bastard to the Yoruba race because he was told they tribalized. Obasanjo was so open-minded. He didn't really foster or push the Yoruba conservatism. He wasn't an Aoist, to say the least. So for that case, Yorubas wanted to have an Olufala who was an Aoist, a man who could ordinarily could have come in and appointed more of his own kinsmen. But we saw how Obasanjo was voted in by the Igbos, and then of course he came in and then he gave them everything they wanted. They were the Senate president for approximately, if not more than, if not through the 8 years, but they were being changed. But that was the case. So today, bringing it down to 2025, a Peter Obi will know even if he has a shot, he won't be able to spend 8 years, 4 years, right? But again, if Peter Obi becomes the president, the struggle to have a Nigerian division will be dead. That's just the truth. If Peter Obi becomes a president today, that struggle of over 65 years, where over 3 to 4 million souls were sacrificed for, that goal, that mission that an average Igbo man wants, which is the achievement of the Biafra struggle, will just die a natural death. Because there will now be a conversation, yes, from the north, that now that an Igbo man has become the president, then therefore there shouldn't be a need, and there will never be a need why an Igbo man will say he wants to leave this ugly marriage that we find ourselves. So would you rather choose that, whereby in 4 years it will be guided, it will be monitored, it will be scrutinized, just the way they are dealing with Fubara in Rivers State, because there was a godfather. You all know the godfather of Bitobi, the likes of Babangida, right? The likes of Abdul Salam. So these people, you know, will not go into a deal that they will have their machinery to support Bitobi, and then Bitobi will now go there and think he wants to break the country. It's not going to work. The man that looks like, and the man that is in power, that seems to have the capacity, that has shown, though it might not be good economically, this man Tinubu is not in any way trying for us economically. Everything is expensive. Inflation is high. We know what, I mean, we all can feel the hardship, right? But we have always said that if Nigeria truly wants what we call economic prosperity and liberation, every region must cater for itself. There is no way one Nigeria can work. It is not possible. It is not a magic. There has to be a total overhaul. If you are not going to have a complete secession or a complete breakup, then we are going to have a complete overhaul of the constitution, a constitution that will represent the will of the people. The Yorubas will think and they will agree, okay, whatever dividends we make in our cocoa, in our farming, we want to give the federal government 30%. That is what we can afford, because we have a lot to do back home. The Igbos will agree. What we have is from our own gas in Imo, from our oil in Abia, and then from our farm produce, what we think we can give is just 30%, and we do not want that 15% derivative anymore. The people from the south will also do the same. For that, you will have what we call economic liberation. It is not a situation whereby some people in the north are not working. They don't even go to office. They are just government ghost workers. But at the end of the month, there's an alert that drops guaranteed, because some mumus in the south are working tirelessly, now remitting over 60% to the federal purse. Who do you think is ready to do that? Who is the man that has tried it? But we saw how the North fought him hands down. In fact, a Peter Obi came out and said that this is not the time to be talking about tax reform. Is that not what Peter Obi said? Peter Obi said, this is not the time to talk about tax reform. Maybe Peter Obi does not understand. Your brother in Agulu, okay? Your brother in Oka, where they consume life beer and hero beer. When they drink them, he go get pot belly, right? In some instances, that beer, he go shack him, he go use his head knock, bam, he go get injury. But the money where intake pay for that beer, I need to speak it in pidgin. The money where intake pay for the beer, he buy 2 bottle of beer 2,000. Wetin they go give Anambra inside that 2,000 naira? They go say, yeah, Anambra, you know wetin? You take 300 naira. Now your people drink am. They go come carry 700. Ngbanu, oh yeah, all those northerners. Una wait be say una no dey like you know say una na Sharia abi okay, oh yeah, make una take 400, 500. Federal government go come take 200. Does that make sense? If Itobi came out and he rejected such a bill, the bill, when you have to look at it, you have to look at it from the critical analytic area that bill is an agenda to restructure. So Tinubu was doing it to checkmate who will be the people that were against it. I tell you, there was no any Southerner that was against it. In fact, middle belters were like, do ham, oga push am. All the potato, all the corn, them, what would they push am? The South people were all saying that this tax bill must pass, but at this very day, those that were supposed to support it, like the political oppositions, leaders, when a person like Obi came out and said that no, this is not the time to talk about tax. We're not supposed to talk about tax reform bill. We're not supposed to talk about VAT reform bill. Let us leave it. Let us go and invest more in the north. Let us go and put more money in the north, so that me I go to work. I go to work like Jackie. They go to carry my own tax, my own everything where they do. They go give me inside 100 naira. They go give me 20 naira. Carry 18 naira. Carry and go federal. Carry 60. Go north. Federal chop 20. So listen, Biafrans and Igbos in general. The conversation here is beyond what you can see with your ordinary eyes. If you have a spec, you might put it and just see what I'm seeing. What I see is clear. Come 2027 is a very critical point. We have to agree that 2027 is that breaking point. We must provoke the North. If our failure to provoke the North will keep us remain in this contraption, unfortunately. The North today wants a Southern president out of the system. They want to put in someone they can control. This is the way they did with Jonathan. Jonathan was actually booted out. Jonathan was silenced. Jonathan spent over 150 billion to organize confab. That scheme was the road to ensure that Nigeria becomes a confederation, whereby all the tribes were called. And after the confab that was led by Professor, the current JAM Director General, Oloyede, after that confab, it was agreed that first and foremost, Nigeria must be restructured. And for that to happen, Nigerians must rewrite a constitution. There can never be a prosperity, economic prosperity or economic freedom, if you are working while others are not working and they are benefiting from what you do. It is never going to work. You will always be what? Stampeded. Your progress will be stampeded. You will just find yourself in that state of stagnation. Clear your mind, open your ears and pay attention. Period. That is just as it is. So many people must understand that restructuring this country will virtually give all of us what we want. I mean, if I go back to my old Western region, where everything that is within my territory, I have that autonomy over it. I have agreed that everything that I make, this is what from my own widow's mind, or from my mind with my clear conscience, that I want to give to the federal post maybe 30% because of our foreign policies and maybe for our federal police. I mean, what other deal is better than this? A quick reminder, the Igbos voted for MKO Abiola, a Yoruba man, because they saw the future. The Igbos voted for Obasanjo, another Yoruba man, because they saw the future. In 2027, you have a very clear roadmap to that total liberation, which is provoking the North. Would you rather vote the Tinubu, who has assured you in a closed meeting that if I can secure this social amount, of course, Nnamdi Kanu will be out? Or would you rather allow the whims and caprices and the wishes of the North, who have said anybody who dares release Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, to the agenda of one Nigeria? Which of these would you support? So it is clear that we know who is my friend in this battle for my own life prosperity. It is clear at this stage that when my enemy is working in my advantage, I have to learn to work with my enemy. At this stage, when my own is sabotaging me, I must learn to sabotage him back. A Peter Obi is ready to sacrifice the Biafran emancipation because he wants to be the president of this fake country. It is clear that the pathway is to go into that deal with this man, even though I do not like him. I have never suffered like this in Nigeria before. But what I know is when the Norths are provoked, my emancipation is just next door. Because I know for every policy that will ensure my freedom, there are only just specific people that will fight against it. My freedom is about resource control. My freedom is to guarantee that I have a state police that will fight the Fulani bandits in the forest across the western borderlines. My freedom is to have an equal playing field in educational sector, where I do not have to study more than someone in the north. If we are to go into a competition to study medicine, let us be given that equal playing field. If it is 200, let everybody who scores 200, not that constitution that is discriminatory, not that educational system or that quotation system that says that if I score 200, if a northerner score 120, he qualifies, but then I have not qualified. We have to use our head. If you're just joining, please kindly like, subscribe, and share. Bye for now.